specifically offensive weapons, or do you think they need to just take a holistic approach? Because the thing that I'd be worried about if I'm Deshaun Watson is the things that I can't control, which is the defense. Like, well, I don't know, we were up 24-0 against the eventual Super Bowl champs. Like, I didn't lose that game. I didn't give them 41 points. I had a bad interception, don't get me wrong. When you look at these numbers here, 24 points per game, 19th. Yards per game, close to the bottom. Third down, really bad. And red zone, dead last. And look, Romeo's out. Anthony Weaver's in. They start the season tough. Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers. So if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm happy I've got my money. But I'd also be looking at the other side of the ball and be like, do we really have enough here, Greg?
Yeah, it comes down to, like Brandon said, a lot of us always talk about what the quarterback's best friend is, running back, receivers. But when you have an offense that can put up points, that is electrifying, that has a quarterback that can make splash plays and put the ball back into the hands of the other opponent because of the big playability, then you have to make sure that the defense is stout. And we've seen the Texans have some really good showings on defense, kind of like we thought about the Kansas City Chiefs, where they were high, they were hot, their defense was down in the dumps, and then it's like, well, if their offense is striking like this, their defense got to at least get some turnovers and some takeaways. If the Texans can produce takeaways, they don't have to stop teams 3 and out every single time on the field. But if you can create takeaways and give a player like Deshaun Watson more opportunities, yes, now you're on the right side of it.
But hopefully management, and I'm laughing because management, coaching, all that goes to
It's
Billy
Bill
O.
O'Brien. It's the same guy.
Yeah. Yes. All right, so let's just say Billy O. So hopefully Billy O is not approaching this where it's, hey, let's put it all on Deshaun, right? Because I've been in these situations going into games, Greg, and you as well in Green Bay, you guys rarely had great defenses. You knew that you had to put up 30-plus points to win the game. That's way too much pressure. I remember in 2008, 2009 in Denver, playing with Jay Cutler, Tony Scheffler, Eddie Royal, we had Lepsis, we had a strong team. And I remember sitting on the bench at times, and Jay Cutler would not look up and watch the defense. He just sat there with his head down the entire game, and he said, I'm not watching this. And we knew when we hit the field, we had to score touchdowns. Field goals wasn't good enough. Same thing happened in New York when playing with Eric Decker, Ryan Fitzpatrick. We knew, Greg, that we had to score 30-something points if we wanted to win the game. That pressure on the offense week in and week out is a lot. Now, can some teams carry it? Yes, you guys did it all the way to the Super Bowl. But that's a weight that most teams can't carry.
So, but here's the problem, and I know people think I'm too hard on the guy, but it is all about Bill O'Brien. Because the Texans' plan is have Deshaun bail us out. Because think about this. They lost DeAndre because they didn't have the money to pay him, because they knew they were going to have to pay Tunsil more money than any tackle had ever made by a wide margin, because they had given up all those draft picks for him. They can't keep Tyrann Mathieu, who was on the Texans and then went to the Chiefs, was a huge part of the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl, because they knew they were going to have to pay Tunsil and pay other guys that Bill O'Brien has overpaid for. Yet they found money to have David bleeping Johnson at $13 million be a positive part of a trade. That's the GM, Bill O'Brien. The head coach, Bill O'Brien, has a 24-point first-half lead in a playoff game and then is losing at halftime. That shouldn't be mathematically possible. That came after a playoff game to the fighting Josh Allen's, where they were getting run off the field until Deshaun Watson started doing special Deshaun Watson things. And Jenna, I can't help but think about, you have Patrick Mahomes taking 2 spots ahead of Deshaun, who has Andy Reid as the head coach and Brett Veach as the GM. You have Lamar Jackson taking the year after, who's got John Harbaugh as the head coach and Eric DeCosta, previously Ozzie Newsome, as the GM. So you've got top 5 coaches, top 5 GMs for those 2 young stars. And then you've got Deshaun, who's got like the 27th best coach and the 32nd best GM, and it's the same dude. And we're like, hey, man, go figure it out.
Nick,
and it's just, I mean, I wish him luck.
I can't even respond to that.
We all know what the issue is.
I can't respond to that. I can't
Jenna,
respond
we all
to
know
that.
what the issue is.
Go to the next topic.
If only we knew how you felt about Bill O'Brien. Hey, time now for an oldie but goodie. Contender or pretender? It works because it rhymes. Staying in the AFC South, the Titans signing Jadeveon Clowney yesterday.
Yeah.
One-year deal worth up to $15 million.
Another former Texan.
Brandon, I'll start with
Give
you.
it away.
There you go. Are the Titans Super Bowl contenders or pretenders after signing Jadeveon Clowney?
Contender. Contender. Come on, we know this. Here's the thing that you need to look at when you're seeing, if you're trying to figure out if your team is set up for success. Number one, do you have a quarterback that can manage the game and also make big plays? Yes. This quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, is battle tested. I'm glad that they solidified this position by stepping up and paying this guy. The second thing is running game. Do they have a running game? Absolutely. And the other thing, the last thing is defense. 100% have a really good defense, top 5 defense. So for that reason, for those reasons, they are contenders.
Yeah, I 100% agree. When you look at what they were able to do and the run that they were able to make deep into the playoffs last year, the Texans, they checked all the boxes that you just mentioned. But even more importantly, when you get into the playoffs, it starts to trickle over into coaching. And the identity of Mike Vrabel, we saw translate to those players on that football field. They were tough, they were smart, and they were ready for every situational football play. And that's what makes a special team, and that's what gives you the opportunity to contend deep into the playoffs.
So, listen, I love Clowney. I think he's an excellent player. He was really good the year in Seattle when Bill O'Brien was paying half his salary for him. But even with the addition of Clowney, this team's a pretender. And one thing I've learned, Brandon, from this near month of us doing shows together is you've got a little bit of traumatic stress from your 18 different quarterbacks. Because if a quarterback has a pulse, you're like, you can win with him. If the quarterback is anything, he's like, you can win with the guy. Like, there's a reason. Like, listen, Ryan Tannehill played the best he will ever play in his entire. There you go, exactly right. So I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to duplicate what he did last year. This year, he had like a 117 quarterback rating after he took over for Mariota. That I don't think is duplicable. So I think the Titans come back to being a good-ish team, Wilds, but not a Super Bowl contender. No way.
Yeah, so I'm splitting the difference here. I'm saying they're contenders because they're pretenders. They're pretending to be the Patriots. Mike Vrabel last year killed my Patriots with that clock manipulation, which was then, rule was changed, so it was illegal. Yeah. I was just early on saying it was illegal. Is it okay if Belichick does it? Yeah, you can't pretend to be Belichick and do it. Then it's just a ripoff. And then you sign Gostkowski, old Patriots kicker. Now I'm like, if Gostkowski comes to Foxborough and boots a field goal to knock us out of the playoffs, I'm just going to lose my mind. I will lose my mind on the show. Get ready for that.
What's up,
January.
Brandon?
Oh, okay, so you're calling the Packers-Vikings game. You played for both. What are you seeing, Greg? Real quick.
You know what? I'm seeing what everybody else is seeing. I'm seeing a team in Green Bay that is still Aaron Rodgers heavy, that is going to rely on him quite a bit. Their defense is looking spectacular. The offense of the Vikings, I love where they are defensively. They just acquired another pass rusher. It's going to be a special NFC North divisional game.
Who you got?
Greg Jennings on the call.
It's a great game.
Vikings back. I don't know if he's ready to make that prediction yet. Hey, in the battle of LeBron versus